No, Jose. And we're live. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. We're coming at you live from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Team USA just beat Team Mexico. Bow, 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 bow. Also, Blackrock looks to give the knockout punch to Gary Gensler in the SEC. We're going to, of course, talk about that. We're going to get some different perspectives. We're going to share some not so good perspectives. We're also going to talk some, if we get to it, some news on Quant. A big partnership down the pipeline for them and for Ripple as well. We all, of course, have Forrest joining us on this Forrest Friday. But first, we do have someone else joining us in studio, and that is Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, well, hey, entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take that old, boring, and stale information that these other crypto YouTube channels spew out. And we do it in a fun and sexy way. Also, we talk about the price of Bitcoin, which is rallying. Guess what? It is over 26,000. We were on the way to 20K. We were at 24,000. I was thinking that, hey, man, we could be at 20K, 19K by then. And then in comes Blackrock to save the day.
Knight in black armor.
That's right. And so now we're at 26,300. Wow. So big move this morning. So you know what that means? The bull market is back, baby. Right. DJ. It's the bull horns, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cringe.
Why is it cringe?
This is very cringe. You know what's not cringe is something we've had issues with, but we don't anymore. That is our network issues. And there's one reason for that, and that reason is channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business and you need help, you're going to want to give them a call to help solve all of your network problems. Visit bluewiretech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. I'm already tired of Robin, so I want to bring in our special third co-host of the week. That is going to be our man, Forrest Dispatch. Forrest.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man. Pleasure as always, brother. Thank you so much. We're excited for today's show. We're excited for the charts. We're excited to get your extra bullish take on Blackrock. And so, well, you know, we always got to start with some giggles here. So let's giggle away. So I found this gem here. So it's another life hack I found for you guys. Okay. So this is a little old, but it popped up on my timeline. And I figured, hey, why not remind the people? Maybe you haven't seen it yet. So yes, that is a cob of corn. Forrest, have you seen this, by the way?
Is this the one where it gets in our hair?
Yes. So it's like, what world do you think this was a good idea? And there goes the hair.
Oh,
yeah, that's man. That's
ouch.
Very shocking. She didn't like cry. She didn't like jolt. Like that's gotta hurt, dude. Just pulling out a wad of hair.
Well, like, look, go back to the beginning before she starts it. That's like a big ass industrial drill, bro. That's not like that ain't your like Home Depot version, bro. Like that's like some carpentry type carpentry.
Maybe her husband's a carpenter.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Then we have
Was this at the Mexico game last night? No. Like the crypto markets.
just the way the beer like dribbled out of his mouth, and then he just it's funny. Some actual news. So we have this. So a lot of bullish narrative around Bitcoin. BRICS is considering Bitcoin as an alternative to the US dollar. Now, BRICS has been around for a very long time, but hasn't picked up steam until the sanctions on Russia. And so other countries saw what happens. The U.S. can literally go in and freeze your central bank's bank account that has dollars in it and take money away. And so they're like, well, we don't want to say something and piss off the U.S. or get on their bad side and have all of our money frozen. So we've seen, I think this was reported yesterday or 2 days ago, 20 more countries applied to be part of BRICS. And so we know their currency is a commodities-backed currency. And now it looks like Bitcoin will be considered. What kind of impact could it have if this BRICS thing continues to gain traction, continues to gain momentum, and Bitcoin is added as one of the backings of their currency? Robin?
Bullish for Bitcoin?
Well, you tell me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. The more you transact with an asset, especially a currency, stronger it becomes. I don't need to look any further than the world reserve currency, where it's the medium exchange for everything. So, or not everything, but the medium exchange for most internationally traded products. And essentially, it's the backbone of global trade. And the backbone of global trade is energy, particularly oil. And if, even if Bitcoin takes, or let's say the BRICS take 5% of the global market of oil trade, that is pretty significant when it comes to the size of market cap. And if that's getting traded in Bitcoin, holy crap, man, right? And I mean, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars at that point. And we see what happens when you have network effect, when people are using something. Look no further than Ethereum. When everyone's transacting and paying in gas fees in Ethereum, they're using Ethereum for NFTs and smart contracts. Hey, price of Ethereum is where it is simply because people are holding and using Ethereum. Same concept for dollars. The dollar is as strong as it is because people are holding and using dollars to facilitate trade and also to invest, right? Foreign countries invest in the U.S. Treasury bond market, and that's where a lot of the dollar's value comes from. And so if you're trading in Bitcoin and you're also holding Bitcoin as a nation state, we're going to see, if this were to play out in the bullish scenario where it took money away from the oil markets and it went into the BRICS market, and Bitcoin was that medium of exchange currency for that, it's game over, right? I mean, you're talking about moving your chess pieces in. You're talking about taking over the game. You're talking about checkmate, man, for world reserve currency, right?
Forrest, what are your thoughts?
I'd say, overall it's bullish. I mean, anytime Bitcoin's being used or being purchased and there's demand for it, it's going to be good for Bitcoin's price. Tough to quantify that without, making some big assumptions about how much Bitcoin will be purchased and, how much traction this thing has. But overall, it's bullish, very, very bullish.
Okay. Well, I have another piece of bullish news.
I gotta interrupt real quick, man. You guys, this thing is ripping right now. Like, it is literally like going vertical. And I mean, we started the show at 26.1. I know it's $300, but it's been literally like 6 minutes. And
Forrest, can we take a look at the Bitcoin
yeah,
chart?
I mean, this thing is I am just like, I can't not talk about this right now. Like,
Talk about it.
At 7 a.m., not even 3 hours ago, it was 3 hours ago. We're at 25.3. We're already, we're about to cross 26.5. Yeah. What do you got, Forrest? This is very interesting.
Yeah, I can pull up the Bitcoin chart here. Yeah, I've been, starting last night, I've been bull posting. Even last night, everyone was still bearish. Even this morning, everyone was still bearish. And I was like, guys, this Bitcoin ETF from Blackrock is the real deal. Like, this is absurdly bullish, We can kind of break that down later because I know we're gonna be talking about it. But we just reclaimed 26K, 26,092, which is a really big level to reclaim. Let me throw my colors there are correct. So that was we had lost this 4x long margin pressure level. That was obviously bearish. We held it as resistance, and we were starting to move down into the 5x, right? We were talking about how we could potentially see some chop in this region. But now that this Bitcoin ETF came, I'm almost positive. In fact, there's really nothing else that is probably driving this price action aside from the BlackRock ETF. It is stupidly bullish, just stupidly bullish. And the market is kind of took a little while to figure it out. We're now pushing up against this trend line. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like, hey, we can't drop in the midterm. It's very bullish in the long term, right? So I think there's probably people taking large positions based off of this. We've broken through this downtrend level, which is nice, broken through 26K. So this would actually, so assuming we hold this would actually be a long trigger if you're not long already. I talked about an Ethereum trade setup in a video yesterday, I believe, this ascending triangle that we've been watching for ages. And let me zoom out to the daily on ETH here. We're reclaiming 1700, which was a big level to reclaim. Move this back actually. These were the levels that we were paying attention to. This was our 2x long margin pressure level. That was the top. We saw pretty much a full rotation back down to the trend line of this ascending triangle and back down to our 3x long margin pressure level. Now we're getting a really, really strong bounce. Whether or not we just completely reclaim everything and then move up and this plays out according to plan is unclear. But so far, so good. It's the first kind of stage of this plan, the first bounce. This is a really, really good sign. We're getting a strong bounce here. So, this is, the TA said buy. The news came in to kind of back that up with the Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock. And I personally, I would not be surprised. I'm not... These shorter term price movements are difficult to sit here and try to project, right? We've got some trend lines and stuff. You just pretty simple, buy the trend line, right? We could still go further. Something bad could happen. We could still drop down to 20K. It's on the table, right? It's on the table. We're still in this kind of downtrend. We haven't broken the downtrend yet. We've reclaimed some key levels. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the further downside isn't a possibility. But what I will say, off of this news, I wouldn't be surprised if we go to new highs. I just wouldn't be surprised. And I expect new highs. To me, this news on the Bitcoin ETF confirmed that we're getting another bull market. This is the most logical, reasonable path. And I would argue one of the only paths towards six-figure Bitcoin in the next year or two.
I just want to interrupt you with just this graphic here, just to give you a little bit more, of a supporting argument. This is the first gold ETF listed on New York Stock Exchange. See here, right here is the first listed gold ETF.
What year is that?
This was in 2006. Obviously, you had the financial crash, but you can't argue with something like this. First gold ETF, and then you see where the price is now. Went from $300 up to broke over 2,000. So I think that's per ounce.
I mean, I'm so happy with this news. It's just it's like Santa Claus came and said your bags are about to 10x. It's just beautiful. It's incredible.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes now you talked about Bitcoin and Ether, but taking a look at the rest of the market here as far as the top 10, then we'll take a look at the bubbles. BNB token $242, XRP under 50 cents. That's kind of interesting. Down 10% of the last 7 days. I think people were expecting XRP's. Well, the rumor was XRP's lawsuit was going to settle, or Ripple Labs lawsuit against the SEC was going to come to a resolution, settled, come to a verdict, I guess, or the judge was going to make judgment, but didn't play out this week. And so I think it's, hey, we thought we were positioning, didn't happen, so people are exiting. Natural pullback, I think. But
Yeah, I do want to really quick give a shout out to our viewers here. If you are new, say hello so that way we can drop an hola back at you. We have a few new people. Perry D, XRP, YFW Crypto, BU, Sandaman, Axial Tilt, and Heyman as well. So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, let's get the chat seems to be, first of all, a little quiet. But first, do us a favor. Hit that like button. Why haven't you hit the like button yet? We only got less than 50 likes. And then also, let's get a Ola chant going. Let's get an Ola train going. So do us a favor. Let's get the chat rolling. I'm going to drop the first Ola. And yeah, hopefully you guys follow.
Misco said, a few crypto shows this morning were telling XRP holders to take profits. Interesting. Cardano's still under 30 cents at 26.6. Doge, Tron, and Solana round out the top 10. Polygon Matic continues to slip. It has now been surpassed by none other than Litecoin. So Polygon Matic under 60 cents for us, since we're kind of going over the charts. Are we at a good entry point for Polygon Matic if you're looking to add more to your bags?
Yeah, we can pull up that chart real quick. This is a tougher question. So let me go to the Matic chart. I'll pull this up. Look, we came down and we tagged the green easy band level pretty perfectly, right? And it was really bullish Bitcoin ETF news. How long this takes to permeate throughout the market and potentially cause a rise in altcoins is unclear. As of right now, like the news for Polygon Matic, it's not great. I believe Celsius is selling off like 100 million in Polygon or Matic tokens or something close to that. And they're going to be moving that into Bitcoin and ETH. So like a lot of these altcoins still potentially, like if the market structure for Bitcoin and ETH doesn't recover here, which is, like I said, still very possible and very plausible, then look, we could see further downside for Matic. If we get a massive pump off this Bitcoin ETF news or speculation, then a mean reversion, right? Even just to this trend line for Matic here, up to around 75 cents, which would be just a retest, a back test of the range lows that we just lost, is very, very likely in my opinion, right? Even if we go lower, at some point in the future, I would expect a range retest of these prior lows. And that's what we just saw on Bitcoin, or what we're seeing on Bitcoin, just in the opposite, just to kind of show you guys, right? This all we've done now is come back down and retested the prior highs. So after deviating above, so it wouldn't be out of the question here for us to go to Matic and just say, hey, we've come down. Well, we've spilled off. We're oversold. Could we go lower? Certainly, but we've held support so far around 52 cents, which is the green easy band. And off of these green easy bands, you very frequently get mean reversions. Even if you go over them, you very frequently revert to the 21-week simple moving average at some point in the future. That 21-week simple moving average right now is sitting above $1.
Okay. Before we let go of the charts, there's one more I want you to look at. So I put in, so when Quant was under $100, it was at like $99. ETH was at over 1,800. I converted one ETH to about 18 Quant. I'm looking to convert back from the Quant to the ETH. Would it be a good time? Is Quant reaching a resistance level? What is the next resistance level? And then, what are your thoughts on that whole thing in general?
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the Quant news. Your timing was impeccable. I actually got long today on Quant as well. I got in around 106. Let me pull up this right here that I posted in the Research Hub chat earlier. I've got it somewhere. Here it is. I bought some QNT this morning, both spot and a leverage trade off of this tweet from Gilbert Verdian, the founder. I know you guys like Quant. I'm a big fan of Quant. He said, I'm incredibly proud to be able to announce that Quant Network has been collaborating with Bank for International Settlements and the Bank of England on Project Rosalind, blah, 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 CBDCs, right? They've been working with Bank of Canada, Barclays, MasterCard, Amazon, which is huge news. I mean, CBDCs are coming whether you like it or not. QNT and Ripple will probably be big parts of that. I've been saying for a while, QNT is probably the higher beta play on Ripple. Like if you're super bullish on Ripple, but you're worried about the court case, or you have other issues with Ripple or whatever, you want something with better tokenomics, QNT. We are moving up into the 21-week simple moving average region, but we've also just taken out this trend line for the second time. So we were popping out, everything was looking bullish, and then of course altcoins just spilled after Gary Gensler came in and started talking about labeling them as securities, and the Coinbase and Binance being sued by the SEC. But now off of this news, we've actually reclaimed this downtrend line, which is actually a pretty bullish sign. Pretty bullish signal. To lose it, this turns now into a deviation, right? And we're looking to go and challenge the 21-week simple moving average at 121. As we take that out, QNT could start running. So I'm bullish QNT. I'm long QNT. I won't be selling at 121. I will just be moving a stop up into profit. I don't care. I think this is bullish enough news, and the market is positioned well enough that I'm not in it for a 5% gainer, right? Or a 10% gainer. I'll just, move my stop loss into profit at like 104 or 105, wherever I got in today. And, if it comes back down, then so be it. I'll get stopped out, won't lose any money. But otherwise look to ride this higher.
Cool, man. Sweet. Thanks for checking that out. I do want to also check out, before we move on from the markets, crypto bubbles. Looks like the Richard Hart ecosystem is having a nice day. Over the last one day, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and Hex are all up over 15%, with the former two being up over 20%. As we spoke, Quant up 12.8%, Stacks is up 14.7%. Everything is in the green, with the exception of like two, which is BitTorrent and Caspa. We move on to the 1 hour. The biggest movers, Pepe is up almost 10% in an hour. Holy moly. Sui, Phantom, Pulse Chain. And then as far as the week, everything's still in the red, but we are making some of these losses up. Where we end up at the end of next week, who knows? And as far as sentiment in the market, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that in the next 5 hours, 36 minutes, and 2 seconds, this thing is going to be in the greed, right? We're currently sitting at neutral 47. Obviously, the Blackrock news. Obviously, the Bricks news.
It's still neutral till you get to 60.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. See, like last week it says neutral 50. So,
That's right.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Which is good.
I think it would definitely be over 50.
Usually, when you get into the greed, deep into the greed, that's when you're expecting a pullback, and that's when the markets are overextended. And so, what a great time to be in Bitcoin right now. First of all, you can still get some dirt cheap assets. If you're looking for Bitcoin or even altcoins, we just had the big pullback. I just don't see us going further down. Now, anything's on the table. I mean, you could get a Ripple Labs verdict with the SEC that, could be, pretty damning if it was deemed a security, as an example. So anything's on the table. I don't think that'll happen. I'm not trying to sit here and FUD the court case, but I'm just saying that you should be prepared for anything. However, I do think that it's in my vision here, looking forward, we're about to make some gains, man. Now, whether it's kicking off a full bull market or just simply reversing the direction of Bitcoin's, I truly think Bitcoin was going down to 19K. I think it was at least going down to 20, and now we're in a situation where we are going to be making some new local highs, perhaps get back up to the 30K and maybe test out the all-time highs, right?
Yeah. I do want to give a special shout out to Gianluca Cisari, and I only wanted to give him a shout out because I wanted to say his name. I do miss Rocco, but I want to give a big shout out to DJ. DJ has done an absolutely phenomenal job. I want to give him the recognition he deserves. It was just stroke of luck. He was available for the week Rocco was gone. He stepped up to the plate. We have a very complex setup, and DJ's been absolutely killing it. So DJ, show your face, my man. I want to give you some recognition. Also, guys, if you didn't know, DJ also helps us with our research as well. This man is a former Army. He was in the Army, retired. Just a great person, man. And you've seen him in the chat a few times. His name is DJ Mitchell. He's here with his son today. But DJ, thank you, my friend. We appreciate you. and everything you do. You're done an amazing job, man. Thank you.
Anytime.
Sweet. All right. So, man of very few words, but
There it is.
very important words.
He's hitting buttons, man. Being busy.
I do. All right. Let's get into biggest news of the day. Now,
What's that?
Forrest is very, very bullish. I feel like Robin is a little less bullish, but still bullish. I'm kind of
I
like,
broke out the bullhorns, bro.
okay, Robin is very
That's about
bullish.
as bullish as it gets.
I am middle. I am middle, leaning maybe a little to the bearish side. Maybe. So,
Bearish.
big news. Blackrock CEO. Okay, so we're going to go back in the time machine here real quick, okay? So this was October 13th, 2017. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. Also, it was on an interview. This is so Altcoin Daily posted this, but he wasn't on here for the interview. He was on, I believe, Bloomberg. So this is what he had to say. This was back in 2018 when asked about investors wanting exposure to Bitcoin.
Is it true that you're building out a cryptocurrency capability?
No. I mean, we're looking at it. We're looking at blockchain technologies, and we're looking at all the
But blockchain isn't crypto. Blockchain is just the underlying technology.
Well-
Don't your clients want crypto exposure?
No, I don't believe any client has sought out crypto exposure.
Really?
Yes.
But at some point they might. Do you need to be prepared?
I don't, at the moment, no. I have not heard from any one client they're looking to buy a cryptocurrency at this time. But right now, I can tell you it worldwide, I have not heard from one client who said, I need to be in this.
Is it true that you're building out a
Do you need to prepare in the future? He said no. Okay. Well, and here we are today. BlackRock officially has filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF with Coinbase as a crypto custodian. Now, I do want to mention a couple things. I've seen it, this narrative make its way around social media, and I want to quell that. So everyone's saying, well, why would BlackRock partner with a company that is under SEC scrutiny, right? They got sued by the SEC. Coinbase Custody is a separate entity than Coinbase the exchange, okay? So they're two separate companies. The Coinbase Custody is not the one being targeted by the SEC. They're two separate things, okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, like Rob and I were talking about this off air, Coinbase is the most trusted in the space. They have, what'd you say they have, Robin? Like a bunker or a couple bunkers or something?
Yeah, they have cold storage that they offer for their institutional clients that is not connected to any network. Because if you have an what's called an air gap on, which is very similar to like plumbing. Anyways, if you have an air gap where your crypto is not connected to the internet, there's zero chance for a hack. Now you could lose your assets. There's still potential for loss, just not through a hack because nobody can connect. And so with an air gap, Coinbase Custody, they do use a host of services. That's one of them. And so if you're looking for a long-term hodl, you don't plan on moving, let's just say you have an ETF and you're just putting, say, $500 million worth of Bitcoin that you know or you're not going to sell anytime soon, you would probably keep it in a cold storage through a custodial agent.
Now, this article I do want to mention is from CNBC. So this is making its way around mainstream media. Asset management giant BlackRock took the first steps Thursday to launch a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund, also known as an ETF. This is a quote from the filing. The shares are intended to constitute a simple means of making an investment similar to an investment in Bitcoin, rather than by acquiring, holding, and trading Bitcoin directly on a peer-to-peer or other basis or via digital asset exchange. Okay, so let's stop there. Okay. So, Forrest, you are been sounding the bullhorns on this for the last 24 hours. Why are you so bullish on this BlackRock thing? Is it just because it's going to make the price of Bitcoin go up? Is it what it's going to do for the space? What's your take? Why are you so bullish?
It's gonna make Bitcoin pump if it gets approved. And I think it's already potentially making Bitcoin pump. I don't know if this is just a technical bounce or if this is going to get, legs and have follow through. That's what I was saying. That maybe in the short term, we've got some downside, but I think there's a very high likelihood that it gets approved because of BlackRock's track record. They're 575-1 with the SEC for ETF approvals. They've had 575 approvals and only one get declined. Right there it is, right there.
Yep.
So highly likely that it gets approved. I don't know on what time frame. I don't know when the deadline is for the SEC to answer to this. Maybe it took previous ones years to go through, right? So the futures ETFs, it took them years to go through. So maybe this is not something that is just extraordinarily immediately bullish, but once this gets approved, and if this gets approved in a timely manner, and I would imagine if you're BlackRock, you are doing this and setting this up for the next bull market, for the next halving, right, which is 9 to 10 months away. The amount of money, there's not I don't believe there's a larger source of inflows for Bitcoin that is within a reasonably plausible scenario as far as like a catalyst being. So like I would challenge anybody to come up with a scenario that is plausible to happen in the next 12 months that is more bullish than this. And people might say, well, if Apple came out and they took, part of their cash reserves and they converted 10% of that to Bitcoin, that'd be nothing. Apple has $50 billion, right? If they took 10% of their balance sheet, 10% of their cash reserves, converted it to Bitcoin, that's $5 billion. That's nothing in comparison to how much money this is going to bring into the space. For reference, people's 401ks. I've got two numbers that I've looked up as of September of 2022, which when the market S&P 500 was lower. 401k plans in the U.S., just the U.S. alone, 401k plans held $6.3 trillion in assets. The market's rallied since then, so that's probably closer to 7 or 8 trillion. 1% of that. And remember, Fidelity was talking about, in the bull market, Fidelity was talking about people recommending a 5% allocation to Bitcoin. There was an economist from Yale that came out and said a 6% allocation to Bitcoin in one's 401k or one's portfolio would be smart, right? But if 1% of the US 401k money found its way into Bitcoin, that would be $60 to $80 billion. $60 to $80 billion in inflows. For reference, Bitcoin right now is a $500 billion, $500 billion asset by market cap. But there's probably only 60 to 100, and this is a very, very, very difficult number to estimate. I think it's impossible to estimate. But if everybody sold all of their Bitcoin, and depending on how fast it was sold, there's probably only about 60 to 100 billion dollars in liquidity in Bitcoin in total. So 60 plus billion dollars, and that's assuming 1%. We may see people just drag over the slider and put in 5% of their portfolio to Bitcoin, right? That's just talking about the US market. The global pension, right? Global pension assets I've got this pulled up, 47.9 trillion in 2022, and that is after a 6.7% decrease, which is a lot of that's recovered with a lot of markets that have recovered. So around 50 trillion. So we were just talking about 1% of 6 trillion in the US 401k market, 60 to 80 billion dollars. 1% of the global pension assets is $500 billion. The amount of money that this is going to bring into the space, I think is absolutely going, and that's just from people's 401ks. That's not from all the speculation that this is going to bring, because what happens is people get greedy. People see, oh, there's about to be tens and tens of billions of dollars moving into this space through people's 401ks. I'm just going to buy some spot. That's not even, counting all the speculation, and that to me is the recipe for the next bull market bubble in 2024, 2025. I mean, it's just I cannot think of a single more bullish catalyst within the realm of possibility, right? People could say, well, the U.S. could, declare the Bitcoin as its global reserve currency. That's not going to happen, right? That's not realistic. This is, of all the things that are realistic, this is the most bullish thing that could possibly happen, in my opinion, as far as the amount of money, the amount of liquidity that is going to be flowing directly into Bitcoin.
And here's the timeline too. The maximum amount of time that the SEC has to either approve or deny is before the halving.
It's 280 days upon filing.
280.
And so at 280 days, here is a clock, Bitcoin having 300 days away. And so the SEC has historically used every minute of their time to deny the previous. And so what they've done is they've delayed, then they had to make a decision, and then they have denied. And so time and time again, they've used all of their time. Would not be surprised. Now, it is possible. Now, the original application a decision needs to be made within 45 days. From there, they're more than likely going to deny it. But who knows? Maybe we could see an ETF within 45 days. But I think realistically speaking, this will probably stretch out to the full maximum 280, which lines up within 2 weeks. 2 weeks of the halving.
I don't know if it'll be full max, Rob, but
I mean, I'm just looking at, even though it's BlackRock, I don't think they're going to deny them, but I still think that they're going to delay as long as possible. Remember, the SEC is still trying to take a negative stance on crypto. Gary Gensler said last week that America's the U.S. dollar is the only digital currency we need. And so he's made it abundantly clear he doesn't want crypto here.
But weren't you saying that Bitcoin and crypto are separate?
It is, but it doesn't change the fact that he hasn't come out and talked positively about Bitcoin. And so the two are lumped together. Now, I think from a regulatory perspective, Gary Gensler wants no crypto, but he knows he can't oust crypto at all. So I think that he will. He hasn't pushed back on the fact that Bitcoin is a commodity. They don't argue that fact anymore. And so it's clear Bitcoin's a commodity. I don't think Gary Gensler or the SEC is trying to dispute that. And what they're trying to do is label everything else as a security. And so maybe you just give up your fight on Bitcoin, because they're not even fighting right now. And you say, hey, look, we're gonna shut all this thing down. But so that way we don't seem completely evil and against crypto, and we want to foster innovation. Look, we passed a Bitcoin spot ETF. We support Bitcoin. This is a real digital commodity. Everything else is not. Like, we are pro crypto. Look at Bitcoin. Look what we did for Bitcoin. Everything else, and so they can play both sides of the fence. By doing this, but I don't think that they're going to come out and approve a spot Bitcoin ETF within 45 days, because it makes them seem, it gives the impression that the SEC is pro crypto, even though the two are different. I think that they're gonna delay this as long as possible. I mean, and don't forget that there is still the ARK Invest Bitcoin ETF in application as well.
Well, you also have Grayscale, who's in a lawsuit.
Grayscale's in the lawsuit, which, I haven't followed that, but, maybe.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, their lawsuit simply says, hey, there's a futures Bitcoin ETF. Why the hell don't you pass a spot one? And
what do you think there's let me ask both of you this question. Do you guys think there's a way where they approve BlackRock's ETF and not approve anyone else's?
No. We saw exactly, and they've done. There's a history of this, not only in just traditional ETF filings. As soon as they approve an ETF, they do a large basket, because first of all, if you let only one company launch an ETF, they essentially have a monopoly of it, right? And you can't justify approving one company and not another.
Well, Rob,
right? The premise behind the premise behind not passing the Bitcoin ETF is because the markets aren't stable. It's not the custodial agent.
Another one was manipulation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if anything, if you want to fight manipulation, the way to do it is to have multiple parties also running, because manipulation is due to a lack of liquidity, right? That's the easiest form of manipulation is, hey, there's not enough liquidity, so one player or a couple players can move the market because there's insufficient liquidity. So if you're going to have a spot Bitcoin ETF, or anything. If you're going to have any market and you don't want it to be manipulated, you're going to want as many exchanges or as many markets and as much liquidity as possible. In the same way, you don't want one crypto exchange selling Bitcoin. If you only had Binance and you had nothing else, it would be full of manipulation, right? Then Binance can move the price however they want. And I'm not saying that BlackRock would do that, but I'm just saying in the interest of fair markets and just general trading practices and also history, the futures ETF passed. There was 5 of them within a week. The futures ETF, Bitcoin, 5 within a week. There was the first one. Which one was it? It was the ProShares one, right? Yeah. And then after that, it was the
Vanguard.
And so, but those passed the next day. Those were within like 24 hours. And then you had 2 more later that week. So you had 5 go live in 1 week. And so who's first to market? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be BlackRock. But
there is one, Rob.
You also got ARK Invest as well.
So there is one key difference though in the BlackRock filing, and I put it on the screen briefly, and I'm going to share this and read it. This is from Eric Balkunis. He is an ETF expert, I believe, for Bloomberg. Noteworthy, BlackRock is teaming up with NASDAQ to enter a surveillance sharing agreement, which would mitigate manipulation. This is interesting as no one has done this in a filing before. Buried on page 36 of BlackRock's filing, it was called a 119B4, by the way. We were talking about this before the show. Company states that to mitigate against market manipulation, it will bring in NASDAQ to enter into a surveillance sharing agreement with an operator of a spot trading platform for Bitcoin. Surveillance sharing agreements allow for the sharing of information about market trading activity, clearing activity, and customer identification, allowing for little possibility of market manipulation. We do know that was one of I think this was the biggest thing that the SEC hung their hat on to say no. So with knowing what we have here, what probability would you give to BlackRock getting this application approved versus not approved, Forrest?
I don't think it's
Oh, your name's Forrest?
Yeah.
Okay. Forrest. I don't care, whichever one.
Look, this may come across as being tinfoil hat, but I'm of the opinion that the BlackRock is among the most powerful entities in the world because they have the most money, and the people that have the most money, regardless of what currency that is in, regardless of whether that's Bitcoin or another or US dollars, people that have the most money have the most power, right? And my belief, which may come across as tinfoil hat, is that the reason these other spot ETFs did not get approved is because BlackRock wanted to be first, right? BlackRock probably told the SEC, and again, this might come across as
I've said that before.
Conspiracy theory. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if BlackRock was like, "Hey, no, we want to be first. Wait for us." And then this is just this little anti-manipulation clause is just kind of the BS reason that the SEC is going to say, "Oh, BlackRock, okay, yours is good. All right, now everybody else needs to refile," and then BlackRock has the head start on everybody else. And they're going to time it perfectly with the Bitcoin halving so that they get a ton of liquidity in their ETF. I mean, it's all just. It seems to me. This is like a master plan that's just being orchestrated, but it's becoming extraordinarily obvious. So you look at the same thing with China, like China bans Bitcoin mining at the height of the bull market because they don't have any exposure. And then they use this bear market to get exposure. And now they're ramming crypto down everyone's throats in Hong Kong. Regulators are pushing banks in China now to accept crypto clients 9 months before the Bitcoin halving. It's just like, it seems just insanely obvious that all the pieces are just falling into place perfectly for the next halving. And I think a lot of people are going to get burned here because they're panicking and they're like, "Oh, crypto's dead," and the SEC is playing its role in this whole game.
Rob, what are your thoughts?
What was the question again?
Sorry, I can't cut you off because you forgot the question. That's my bad. So the question is, what are your how confused he looks. Question is, what probability would you give to this ETF being approved and being the first one? Based off of all the information we have.
I don't know about the first one because
Whoa. Hold on. So you think they're gonna accept one before?
They have to.
There is another filing that's ahead of BlackRock.
Yeah. So
But it
you
doesn't have the manipulation thing.
But okay, so what you're saying is that they're going to deny ARK Invest ETF and then shortly thereafter approve another spot Bitcoin
But
ETF?
I'm saying they have something they can hang their hat on and say, this is why we approved BlackRock and not yours. Because they're teaming up with NASDAQ.
Because they're teaming up with NASDAQ.
Well, that's one of their biggest pain points was the manipulation. And apparently, according to them, no one has brought a solution forward.
I think this is what's going to happen. I think if they decide they're gonna make a determination beforehand, right? They're gonna know whether they're gonna approve or deny BlackRock well in advance. They're probably having a meeting with this right now. Gary Gensler is like, "Hey, we're gonna approve this thing because we're not gonna win this battle." And if that's the case,
wow, okay,
they're gonna say, "Okay, well, we can't just deny this other application with the exact same." Like they're gonna get like it just makes no sense. So what I think is gonna happen is they're gonna approve both the ARK Invest and also BlackRock at the same time. But the first to market is going to be ARK Invest, in my opinion. There is also the Hashdex as well. Hashdex is a futures ETF that it is filed differently. It's filed as a commodity under the futures ETF. It's a Brazilian company. Anyways, I was looking at an interview this morning. So Hashdex, it trades under the ticker DeFi. And
what?
And well, hear me out. So there's a Bitcoin futures ETF that trades on the New York Stock Exchange. When they filed, they had filed on it as a commodity and not as a futures. And so how you saw that 19 BK, theirs is like a 33 is their ETF code. I don't know a lot about ETFs. I just started looking into this yesterday. And so this one, they have like a provision in their ETF filing that they could convert over to a spot market. And technically they could be first to market as well. Also ARK Invest. And then you have BlackRock, not to mention you're probably going to get 3, 4, 5 other spot market applications within the next 48 hours, I think. Or at least by Monday morning, I would expect another 3 or 4. And so you're going to have all of these go live probably within a week. And there's no way, where I'm getting at is there's no way they're going to deny ARK Invest, approve BlackRock, and approve 5 others. Like that would make no sense. And they're not gonna just approve BlackRock and nothing else. So if they approve BlackRock, 5 others that same week, and they deny ARK Invest right now, no way. So who's the first to market? ARK. Now, I gotta talk about like why is this so bullish, right? Okay, we talked before. I'm like, hey, when there's a spot Bitcoin ETF, it's going to rally the markets because hey, you have institutional clients, traditional legacy investors that are in the stock market. They all have exposure to Bitcoin, right? And that is still holds true. Is still the same, right? It's going to be bullish because if you're a publicly traded company, you want exposure to crypto. There's no custodial risk now. There's zero custodial risk, right? Somebody else is doing it. There's also no legal risk in holding Bitcoin, right? Right now, there's legal uncertainty. So now you can buy, hold Bitcoin without custodying it, without the chance for a loss there. Also, you're not going to get sued by the SEC. So that is still the same. That hasn't changed. But what has changed here is that the biggest name out there is going in on crypto.
The biggest whale.
The biggest whale out there is going in on crypto. The company that, as you played your video there, says, hey, nobody wants it. The company that has dismissed it is launching a Bitcoin ETF. They are going to essentially be an exchange for Bitcoin, right? And if BlackRock gets into it, what do the smartest people in the room do? They always look at what the leader is doing, right? If you make cell phones, you're looking what the next Apple product is. If you're making an electric car, you're probably looking at what Tesla's doing. And if you're investing and you're a publicly traded company and you're trying to diversify your portfolio and you're trying to position yourself for the next bull run, because right now we're in a recession, right? S&P 500 is going to make new all-time highs at some point. You're going to try to position yourself, diversify your portfolio, and get in early on projects. And if BlackRock is going in on crypto, there is a lot of companies out there that said, hey, man, did you see what BlackRock did? I think it's time for us to get in.
What if, guys? And
so for that reason,
I'm out.
I think Bitcoin is going to get a massive push in adoption, not so much because they're not scared of the SEC. They don't have to worry about custody, but simply because, hey, the smartest people in the room or the people with the most money, the one that everybody copy trades essentially, is going in on Bitcoin. It's time for us to put in a position.
Guys, what if I told you that there's a possibility that BlackRock is doing this to essentially take over the Bitcoin network and make it to what they want it to be? You'd probably call me a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I have a little bit of evidence to back up this point. We're going to start here. This is a tweet from Anil at Anil Said So. A hidden gem in the BlackRock ETF filing, okay? In the event of a hard fork of the Bitcoin network, the sponsor will use its discretion to determine which network should be considered the appropriate network for the trust's purposes. There is no guarantee that the sponsor will choose the digital asset that is ultimately the most valuable fork. Followed up by this tweet from Chris Black. BlackRock runs first and largest Bitcoin ETF, becomes wildly successful, heavily funds Bitcoin development, proposes, quote, regulatory and eco-friendly proof of stake fork, loses community opinion but adopts fork as Bitcoin anyway, as do most governments, and the proof of work fork becomes just for pirates and El Salvador. To me, I know this is a little bit of a stretch, but it does make, I can say there's enough supporting evidence that at least makes me want to look into it a little deeper, right? BlackRock, they're the champions of ESG, right? They essentially control the market in that way. BlackRock, I would say 80 to 90% of the money that is funded for companies comes somehow via BlackRock. And BlackRock will not invest in you if you're not ESG compliant or don't have a high ESG score. And one of those letters, E, stands for environment. So BlackRock is not Satoshi Flatsmack, okay? So maybe by them putting that little right here, Robin, maybe them putting this little thing in here that's saying if the thing forks doesn't necessarily mean it's our discretion to pick which of those networks is going to be represented in the ETF. They decide to pour money in, fork the network. They already got a crap load of money in there. They don't need the miners if it goes to proof of stake, if that's what they decide to do. And now that is the underlying asset of the spot ETF. What are the odds of that happening?
If you don't get that conspiracy theory out of here.
Okay, so there's not enough evidence for you to even entertain the idea.
No. No. Okay. Here's the thing. You can just look at crypto. You got to address the possibilities, right? You can sit here and say, what would happen if this bank got robbed or, this Fort Knox got broken into and the gold disappeared? Like, you got to have hypotheticals, right? You got to address all the possibilities. Is it possible that Bitcoin could fork? Sure. Is it possible that a company could fork it? Sure. Is it possible that BlackRock could fork it? Sure. I mean, there's nothing stopping them. You need to address that, right? You gotta have an answer to somebody's.
So then why put a stipulation in there,
Because in an application like this, even as crazy as it sounds to us, for people that are not in the crypto space, they can simply say, like, let's just say people at a board of SECs. Let's just say they're sitting in front of a congressional hearing full of people that know nothing about crypto. And they're like, hey, well, we've seen crypto forks before. We saw a fork of Bitcoin before, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. Like, it can fork. What happens if it forks? And if your application has no merit or no way of addressing this, then it's like, aha, I got you. See, your bill. At least now you can be like, well, that is highly, highly, highly improbable, unlikely, will never happen. However, if it did happen, this is how we would handle it. And it's the same thing with any long-ass binding contract. There's always a bunch of what-ifs in fine print down in the bottom just to stroke people's egos if they decide to try to one-up you and be like, well, what happens if this happens?
Forrest, help me out here, man. I laid out some compelling evidence. I laid out some compelling evidence. You can't tell me I didn't. The whole ESG thing, BlackRock, we know they love control. We know that. We know that for a fact. How is this not in the realm of possibilities?
Oh, I think it's the most likely scenario, actually, given a long enough time frame. Like, I don't know if it'll be next year or anything.
Say that one more time. You think it's the most likely scenario?
That a proof of stake fork of Bitcoin is inevitable, right? And you guys know that I've talked about proof of work versus proof of stake in the past, and why I have issues with proof of work. And it's not for me because of the environmental concerns. It's because of the overhead to the network, right? It's because miners turn around, they buy a bunch of energy, but they have to pay for that energy by selling Bitcoin. And over a long enough time horizon, that Bitcoin reward being halved becomes an issue, right? It becomes an issue. Now, recently, I will be the first to admit, like, the increase in demand for Bitcoin block space and the willingness to pay fees for Bitcoin block space due to ordinals and BRC20 tokens is a very compelling argument for the sustainability of Bitcoin's security for a longer period of time. But if you do the math and you actually look like, oh crap, Bitcoin has to double in value every 4 years for like the next 20 halvings, right? Which just becomes a ridiculous requirement. Like this block space, or the block reward halving every 4 years, that's fine. Like, Bitcoin can probably double every 4 years for the next, call it 4 halving cycles. But it gets to a point where that's just not sustainable anymore. You do the math on the quadrillions of dollars that Bitcoin would have to go to in order to maintain its base level of security. It becomes an issue, and like proof of stake is the only way out. So I absolutely believe that this is something that will eventually happen. I believe that there will be a contentious proof, and I'm not sitting here and saying that the proof of stake fork is going to be the one that people support and go with, but I think that the day will come where you've got a proof of stake, a heavily contended proof of stake fork of Bitcoin, and you'll probably have BlackRock on that side just because of their ESG compliance.
Here in Vegas, we're not full. We are not new to conspiracy theories, but they get more crazier than every day. We got aliens in the backyard here in Vegas. Now we got Bitcoin is swapping over and being run by BlackRock, and no more proof of work. Y'all crazy, man. What are y'all doing? What happened to y'all?
Hold on,
y'all
man.
used to be beautiful, man. What happened to y'all?
So you disagree with what
real
Forrest
quick,
is
shout
saying?
out to the chat. Yeah, there we go. All right, so if you're new here, say hello. We got Morgan Saylor, Joe Farino, Julio, Hexagon Relations, Oman 13. Also, we got Ben Alfaric. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, Crickcats gave a $2 super chat. Said thank you for everything you do, guys. Also, he says smash the like button, which is astounding to me. We're at less than a 50% like ratio. That means 1 in every 2 like. Half of y'all don't like us, man. What's going on, man?
He's doing the math in his head. Now, there have been some odd takes, to put it in a nice way, of Bitcoin. Here's one of them. My take on the BlackRock BTC ETF filing. Big news, BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. It's not going to happen. BlackRock knows this. So they're saying that BlackRock is only filing they know they're going to get denied, but they're only filing it to send a political message because, well, Larry Fink is a prominent Democrat.
Okay, I'll say that.
Okay.
It could be bad. This could be bad for crypto, right? Could be bad for the decentralized aspect of it. Could be bad in the fact that we look at crypto as a safe haven from political overreach and manipulation of currency. And, that's kind of what gives a lot of the appeal or the draw of a private money system, or privatized money. Now, is it bad that BlackRock, the arch enemy of crypto and finance, is it bad that they are, leading the way in crypto and Bitcoin? Perhaps. But will it boost up the price? Hell yeah. So which one do you want, man? You want institutions in the game, or do you want some new all-time highs? Because if you thought that Bitcoin was going to get to $500,000, $1 million a coin, 150,000, whatever number you want to throw out there. If you think that Bitcoin is going to be traded at some crazy high number, and that it was going to be transacted globally, and that BlackRock, JP Morgan, and all of the major financial players in this space were just going to be like, oh, you guys are making a lot of money, but we don't like crypto, so hell no, man. They already knew. They've been planning this thing from the get-go. I bet you they might even, you want to talk about conspiracy, BlackRock might be a Satoshi. Larry Fink might be Satoshi. And so if that's the case, all I'm saying, I'm just saying that this could be the longest long con we've ever seen. And I'm just saying, I think that's more plausible than them forking Bitcoin at this point.
What?
I'm just saying.
You are okay. Yeah, that's not.
Okay, no, obviously I'm joking, not serious. Okay,
Thank you.
But I'm just saying that they've been planning, or they've been positioning themselves to be front runners in this market. I would say since the last halving, right? Since the 2017 halving, right? I think when they saw the big run up of 2018, I think that is when companies started positioning themselves. Perhaps they started by hiring people that did research, experts in the field, maybe decided like we're trying to figure out a roadmap on what is their best entry point. And I think that now it's starting to play out.
Forrest, what are your thoughts on this person's take? I know there have been some pretty bad takes, but where would you rank this as far as takes, and what probability percentage would you give this one?
I think that this is a pretty. Is it within the realm of plausibility? Like, I hate to count anything out, but like, I know BlackRock likes money, and they see that, like, they know that crypto is going to blow up again, and they know that they can even spark that bull market for in the next Bitcoin halving. They see China preparing for it. Like, the idea here that they're not going to participate in the next bull market and just shed market share, like see money move out of their ecosystem, out of their assets under management and into the crypto space. I don't think they want to see that trend. I think they want to keep control of the money that they have, and they know that if they do not participate in this next Bitcoin halving, this next bull market, then they may shed quite a bit of value because people are warming up to the idea of self-custodied Bitcoin and self-custodied crypto.
I agree. I don't think BlackRock needs to be like, we want to send a message that we're not happy with what the Democrats are doing, so let's file an ETF that we know is going to. No, that's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
Forrest, if people want more of you, and as we're speaking, I am putting your guys, if you haven't already, go subscribe to Sistine Research on YouTube. I have pinned the link in the chat, so do that. But where else can people find you, Forrest, if they're looking for some more?
You can find me on Twitter. I also post videos now to Twitter, not just on YouTube. It's at 00Forrest is my Twitter handle. That's at 00Forrest, Forrest with 2 R's. And then if you want to check out some of the indicators and you want to check out the research hub where we just find asymmetric risk reward opportunities and send it to your email inbox and also post it in the Discord and on the website, it's Sistine.ai. So Sistine, like the Sistine Chapel, Sistine.ai. And I believe there's a link in the description for that if you want to check that out over there.
Yeah, and you would have made all your money back plus some, just with one of the NFT drops that he had. Also, we did end our poll. Are you bullish on Blackrock ETF? 69% of you said yes. 30% of you said no.
I got a closing question for everyone here in studio and Force.
Okay.
Do you think that
Yes.
we will reach a new all-time high in Bitcoin in the year 2023? So it's in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Put a 1 in the chat. If you
New
think
all-time high?
new
So
all-time
over
high, so 70K Bitcoin this year. And pretty much what I'm saying is that, hey, within this year, if the ETF passes, influx of money, billions of dollars, perhaps trillions of dollars flood into Bitcoin market. And will you see a 70K Bitcoin and above this year
if it gets approved?
The question is not if it gets approved, but like, will we see it this year? 1,
No.
yes. 2, no.
No.
No?
Boris, what's your vote?
If it gets approved, yes. If it doesn't get approved, then no. If it gets approved
That's why
with
I
enough
asked that
time,
question.
then I would say yes. But considering there's still 280 days before the SEC,
Do
needs to
you
make a decision.
think? Do you think that
So we're at about 180 days left in the year.
it could get approved within 45 days? You know, that is the timeline of the application. So
Not possible. Not probable. Sorry, not possible. Not probable. But who knows?
I mean, I think this gets approved. I think we see all-time highs within 6 months of it being approved.
And
6
we'll
months
leave it
after, so.
I'll leave it at this. You guys are going to understand. Spot versus futures. For every share, every piece you buy, the company has to go out on the back end and buy the actual physical not physical, but the Bitcoin. That is the biggest difference, and that is why it has such a more dramatic impact on price of a spot versus a futures. With that being said, guys, make sure to follow us on all of our social medias. Go follow Forrest at 00Forrest with 2 R's. If you want to support the channel, there's plenty of ways to do that.
supporting our sponsor.
And also go support our sponsor as they have supported us through all of our technical and networking issues. You'll notice the stream has been nice and healthy recently, with the exception of one time where we switched over to fiber. But none of that would have been possible. Would have been possible without our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want more information, visit bluewiretech.com. And I think we've thanked everyone we need to thank. I want to thank you for tuning in. We know you could be watching other shows. You could be watching other things and doing other things, but we appreciate you spending your time with us. Have an amazing weekend. Make sure to come back on Sunday for Robin's Rant and Ramble. If you don't like Robin, then come back Monday as we will be doing our regular live stream. With that being said, DJ, last time, bro. You sad it's going to be your last time? Me too. DJ? Guys, thank you so much on behalf of myself, Robin, Forrest, and DJ. We love you all. We hope you had a great week. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Until then,
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.